Dutch Biker here. This episode is all about 4 easy ways to make your Stromer ST3 a bit more comfortable while flying down the road. I tend to ride on the fast side and have found this bike to be pretty harsh when you're flying down the road. Maybe it's that I'm not used to aluminum bikes, maybe it's I'm not used to e-bikes, but either way, I wanted to take some steps to make it a bit more comfortable. So here's 4 easy things that you can do to make your bike more comfortable. So the first accessory I added to make the bike a bit more comfortable was this Kinext seat post. As you guys probably saw from previous videos, I did buy the seat post prior to this and bought the wrong size. And so once I got the right size, I put it on there. Man, it really actually helps. And I was not a believer in this. It really didn't make sense to me from a standpoint of where you would locate the suspension, but on an e-bike it works really, really well. It takes a lot of the big hits out of riding the bike, especially when you're flying along at 28 miles per hour. Second accessory I added was new grips. I really disliked the grips that came onto this bike. Not only were they really, really hard, but they also were trying to be ergonomically shaped, and frankly, they just didn't fit my hands very well. I tend to rotate my hands a little bit fore and aft, depending on how I'm positioning myself on the bike, and those didn't allow me to do that. And these are grips. These are Oury's, and they've been around forever. These happen to be the lock-on version of them, which I think are a little bit better. But I've been using these on a mountain bike for literally like 15 years or something. They're super soft, and they just take a little bit of that little shock out of the ride when you're riding, and especially with this, you know, aluminum fork that I've mentioned before, which isn't exactly comfortable. So this takes a little bit of the hits out of there and makes it a whole lot more comfortable. Next, I added a new saddle. The saddle was not great on the bike to begin with, and I thought I could just do a lot better. So I put this specialized saddle on here. It wasn't too cheap, frankly. It was about 130 bucks or something like that. I didn't go with the super lightweight version of it, but as you can see, it's actually kind of a shorty seat. It looks a little different than the other seats, which isn't the reason why I went for it, but proves to be a lot more comfortable, especially with this cutout in here. Fits my butt a lot better. For those of you who aren't really experienced cyclists, it's important that you get a seat that fits the width of your tailbone. I know it sounds kind of funny, but if you go into a good bike shop, they can actually measure your tailbone, and they fit a seat according to the width of your tailbone, and it makes a massive difference. So if you haven't done that, I would suggest doing that. The next thing I did to make my bike a bit more comfortable, the ride quality a little better, cost me nothing at all. It actually was just adjusting the air pressure in the tire. They suggested 60 to 80 pounds of pressure in these tires, and I found that to be way too much. You know, I've talked to some e-bike mechanics since then, and they kind of say, well, to a certain degree, it is personal preference. But I'll tell you, I've run as little as 25, and I run about 30 on average. I find that the range is fine with it, the comfort is greatly improved, and the handling is still quite good. So I would suggest you play around with it and find that tire pressure that is most comfortable for you. For me, it was definitely on the lower side. So that's it. 4 easy things you can do to make your ST3 a bit more comfortable. If you've got any other ideas, please send them along. I've got some other ideas. I think I may change out the tires as well. More to come on why that is, but I may change those out. Other than that, the bike's been great. It is getting more comfortable. I'm still waiting for that suspension fork to come through from Stromer, that inverse suspension fork they're supposed to make for the ST3 and ST5. That should be pretty cool. So stay tuned. Thanks.